There's never been a better time to have SiriusXM. With even more exclusive content, with over 150 channels in your vehicle, including the widest, deepest variety of music, ad-free. Root for your team. Get news. Listen to whatever makes you laugh. And hear all about your favorite stars. Your Platinum Plan offer includes more than ever before to enjoy online, on your phone, or at home. Create your own ad-free personalized stations powered by Pandora. Hear ad-free extra channels filled with music and enjoy favorite shows with SiriusXM Video. Thousands of hours of shows and performances on demand. What you love is on now.
So as we round out our sessions all about mobile audio accessories, we've landed on a category which is often overlooked yet incredibly critical to be a key part of any high-performance audio system, and that is batteries. That's right. We're talking about performance batteries, and today it's all about excess power. We've got the product expert, Shawn Mayo, going to be joining us today, along with a couple other key guests. You don't want to miss this one. This is CMA Connected, presented by SiriusXM. Excess power, and it starts now. Hey guys, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in to another CMA Connected, presented by SiriusXM, of course. I'm your host, Ben Wu. Batteries, do you think about it enough? Is it something that your shop sells? Do you have a high-performance solution for those big builds that you're doing in your bay? Well, if you've been thinking about it, or maybe you already have another brand, today's brand is certainly something you should take a closer look at. It. That is, of course, Excess Power. They've been doing it for years, and boy, do they ever have an offering for us enthusiasts in the 12-volt market. To get things started, we're going to go to one of their Canadian distributors, Importel, where my boy Ramesh is standing by to come in so we can talk some battery talk. What's going on, Ramesh?
Hey, Ben. How you doing?
I'm doing good. This is our first show this year that we're actually talking about this category, battery. So I'm kind of intrigued as to how much of a conversation we can actually have about batteries. You know, it's not something we talk about every day, is it?
Well, I think we can have a powerful conversation.
No pun intended, of course.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, no, but on a serious note, though, is this something that guys really need to, pay attention to?
Absolutely. I mean, we talk about from a theme standpoint, regardless of which portion of audio we've been addressing over the last couple of years on the CMA networks platforms, we keep talking about predictability in our builds and looking at the foundation. And the foundation really starts with being able to supply the current and the power, the voltage to the product that we're installing. So now we can have a predictable result, right? We understand the expectation ahead of time, and we're going to be able to surpass what we've outlined for the consumer. And that starts with being able to supply enough current and keeping the voltage at a high enough level that the product is doing what it says it will do on the spec sheet. And if we don't design that in and we don't think about it, like you mentioned the term big systems, I mean, I would honestly challenge you that putting a simple sub in a monoblock in a sub in a car maybe that doesn't come with a sub, like a BMW maybe, they've got a fairly large cell in the back, like a Group 48 or Group 49. Like it's a 50-pound battery from the factory, like a Dodge Ram. All of these vehicles, when you start adding draw to them, and they've got these, we'll cover the smart alternators and the smart charging systems in the vehicles. They present new, I don't want to say difficulties, but new ways of managing charging to the battery that we never had to deal with before. So the fact that, we say often, and I've covered this before, we've done this for 20 years, we've done this for 25 years this way. Right, but we didn't have to deal with any of that stuff back then. Right, so we talked about with DSPs, well, you didn't have to deal with factory radios doing XYZ.
Get with the times. That's really what the message is here.
It's get with the times.
It's a different environment.
It's a different environment, and making sure that amp that says it's going to do X, like 500 RMS, well, it says at 14.4 volts. And as soon as the voltage drops, it will drop as well. Right.
100%. Okay, so important question for you now. Importel, lots of batteries to choose from. Why was it important that Importel partnered with Excess Power for this category?
Honestly, power density. I mean, if you want to simple, like really boil it down, current per square inch. Nobody really does it better. I mean, there are different applications within the vehicle, and we're going to cover that in a little bit. So not every power cell is exactly the same. There are different power cells designed for, and I kind of use the term power cell more than battery because it kind of just harkens in your brain or to the consumer that it's that thing under the hood that goes over there that's right. And we're not really addressing it that way, but it's really in a given amount of space, how much performance can we optimize? And Excess Power does it better than anybody, really.
They have certainly a reputation. They do one thing and one thing alone, and that is, like to your point, power cells. So before we start, we've got Shawn Mayo, who's the product expert. He's coming in remotely for us. He's made the time. That's great. What's the main message before we start that you want dealers to get out of this session?
I want them to understand why it benefits both them and the consumer to be including a upgraded power cell in every sale.
Very good.
Okay.
Let's get the mood going. They're famous for this brand of lithium batteries they came out with. It's called Titan. It was a big stink when it came out. It still is relevant. We're going to find out why.
Oh, we're going to hear some stuff.
We're going to hear some stuff. Here's a quick video to set the mood. When we come back, we're going to get Shawn Mayo in here and ask him some questions. Let's roll the tape. So that is the Titan, and I'm going to have some comments for that, but I'm going to wait till Shawn gets on. So our next guest obviously works for SS Power. He is their sales and product expert over there, and he's made the time. I know he's busy, he's on the road, but he's going to join us remotely so we can pick his brain. His name is Shawn Mayo. Let's welcome him to the CMA studio. Hello, Shawn, you there?
Hello, Ben.
Hey, what's going on, man? Thanks for making the time with us today.
Absolutely. I'm glad to be on board.
All right, so we're here to pick your brain. I hope your brain is ready for a picking because it's coming to you hard. Let's get right out of the gate. Excess Power, big brand name. You guys specialize and you do one thing and one thing deep. What are some of the key features that guys need to know about that really make Excess Power stand out in the category?
So Excess Power was founded by a man named Scotty Johnson. He's the owner of the company roughly 17 years ago. And something that we're very proud of is that Excess Power was founded by competitors. So Scotty was obviously, the owner was obviously an SPL in sound pressure before he started Excess Power. So in the very beginning, the thoughts were to push the boundaries, and Excess Power came out of it a necessity to need the highest performing battery you can fit. If you're trying to fit something in a, like for example, if you have a shoebox size space and you need the most power for that spot, the best performance with a great warranty and a variety of different options to choose from with some excellent customer service and support, you're looking at Excess Power. We like to push the boundaries on anything we work on. So if it's something that people have, routinely considered for years to be a good battery, we're not in the market of good batteries. We're in the market of great batteries. We're in the market of exceptional batteries. Like I've said before, good, better, and best. We are the best, and we believe that extends through our distributors such as Importel, our customers, and what they do with our batteries every day.
Well, I'll tell you, how interesting is it? I'm going to point out the fact, if you didn't catch on, how many batteries out there were born from a passion for car audio? Give that think about that for 1 second, because that's kind of interesting. There's a lot of battery brands out there, right? A lot of great battery brands. We see the marketing for them all the time. But how many of them, Ramesh, were born out of the passion for car audio? I want to stress that fact. I'd like for you to comment on that, Ramesh.
Well, I mean, I don't know the exact number, but I mean, there's really nobody that does it at the level that Excess Power does,
Mhm.
right? I mean, they understand the applications, and while it was born of car audio specifically, on the audio side, we have so many different solutions within the Excess Power umbrella to address, like within the vehicle, forget stuff, outside the vehicle, whether it be power sports or automotive, like we have so many different solutions that are optimized. And I think that's really the key. It's not one battery, one technology fits all. They've analyzed what's required for a particular application, whether that be audio competition. I mean, Shawn competes himself.
Oh, I was just
So
going to give him an opportunity to kind of address that
yeah,
as well. We want to know.
right.
I mean, Shawn, let the people know, our listeners. I mean, you are a product expert. You do sales at Excess Power, but you are a fierce competitor in sound competition as well, are you not?
I was, and a cool background regarding Scotty and I's relationship is that Scotty had found me before I was even working in the industry. This is my first actual position within the audio/battery technology industry. And what's cool is that I was competing for multiple years, winning titles with Excess Power Products as a customer,
Oh,
as a team member. And Scotty had inspired me to look into the 12-volt market for employment. Obviously, came here, and that's kind of cool because I get a firsthand experience when I'm walking around at shows. I can walk right into somebody's build, take a demo from them, and talk to them and really get down deep into what that person needs. And we have that opportunity in audio. We have that opportunity in racing. We have that opportunity in power sports. It's a great feeling to be able to know that we have our roots in this industry and that it's not just about batteries for us in general.
that's amazing. All right, let's. We obviously want to get into it. Can you give us a quick outline of what we're going to be learning about today, Shawn?
So I want to go over a little bit about the different sections of our batteries. That's a great thing to kind of go over for a dealer perspective, somebody that needs to know. If you're not carrying Excess Power products, obviously we would encourage you to reach out to somebody like Ramesh and Importel to discuss those options with you and discuss the different fitments. And cool thing about us here is that if you call Excess Power, you may very well speak to me or our racing expert. You don't have to press 12 buttons to get to somebody that you have to press 12 buttons to get to somebody who knows something about it. You just call up here, and within just a minute or two, you're talking to one of us. We can tell you exactly what you're looking at. We have shops call every day. Hey, I'm working on 90s, not 1990s years BMWs, and I need to figure out what batteries I need. This is what I'm doing, and we'll discuss it with them. And then at the end, we'll send them to the distributor closest to them. We'll reach out to the distributor and say, hey, this dealer called, wanting the information. This is what we told him. And to make it a lot easier for the dealer to begin. Same thing goes with customers. We have our OEM application guide on our site that allows you to see what exactly you need, not to mention the wattage rating for all these batteries. So we try to simplify things as simple as possible to make it easier for dealers and distributors and customers. And I think you're going to see that today.
That's a
Oh,
key, actually, Shawn.
that's
That
amazing.
that website, the vehicle or the vehicle application guide, that really makes it easy for a dealer. We kind of said that at the beginning when Ben asked what do we want dealers to sort of get out of it. The ability for a dealer to go to the website and select an application while the consumer's there. Hey, what kind of car do you have? Oh man, I don't know a lot about that. Like, what battery goes in that
Right.
that BMW? Click, click, click.
An
Boom.
important tool
Here's
right there.
everything that fits it.
Hmm.
And then, after watching this CMA episode, they'll know what the different categories of batteries are aimed at, and then they'll be able to pick the right one.
And I'll be honest, Shawn, I'm the first to admit I'm no battery expert. I'm really looking forward to learning about this today because I myself are not clear as to what type of battery for which type of application and what was the offering out there. So hopefully we cover all that. I have a feeling we will. So without further ado, I'm going to set you guys up, both Shawn and Ramesh. We have a quick little presentation, and when we come back, we actually have another special guest. We have a retailer in Shazam from Shazam Concepts who will be joining us, who's been a long time Excess Power user. I'd like to hear from him. And then we'll have a discussion. So, Shawn, Ramesh, take it away. Let's learn all
Awesome.
about
Get out of here,
Excess
Ben.
Power batteries. I'm getting out of here.
So this is our D series batteries. This is what we call what I call our flagship series. This is the most torture tested, abuse proof, longest warranty battery we sell. It makes up a very large portion of our sales, and it's meant for under the hood. It's meant for audio applications. It's meant for marine. It's the best, honestly, it's the best AGM battery we sell. Some of those common ones that you may have heard of, I know Ramesh and I have spoken about the D4800 being a common one, and then the D3400 are both very common. But what's cool is too is we make them all the way to a 65, which is a diesel battery, a dual battery diesel battery that's direct fit. We make them all the way to a 75, which is almost like a golf cart size battery, but yet all the way down to a 975, a 545, and a 375, which is for much smaller applications. So we try to encompass an array of sizes to encourage direct fitment.
Absolutely. This is definitely for dealers looking to do an underhood replacement and let's say stiffen the electrical system and give us more reserve capacity and a faster discharge. I think Shawn, you and I have covered that. We've talked about that before. It's not just amp hours and storage or some people look at cranking amps or cold cranking amps, which is sort of somewhat useless to what you know none of our product works at 10 or 8 volts effectively, right? But these puppies with as far as rate of discharge when required, they're just insane, absolutely insane.
And interesting thing there on those D series is that the D, with a cranking amp ability, how we rate them, that's basically the battery's ability to discharge energy quickly. That amperage discharge capability is also a use for audio, because audio amplifiers pull a lot of current very quick up and down, much like music waves do. So having a battery that has a lot of cranking amps can also translate to how it performs in audio applications while maintaining voltage that's desirable. So definitely looking at a D series for the starting application, for the audio application in general, being our longest warranted battery, the D series is by far the best one.
Right. And here you've got a picture of the Speed Factory Civic race car. They're all-wheel drive crazy 2,000 plus horsepower car, and you'll see that's a D series there, is it not?
That is correct. And this is a great example of what we build our batteries for, is that battery is on the front of this vehicle, and obviously it's going to take a lot of vibration, a lot of jerking, a lot of movement, and it's literally direct up front. I'm assuming that's for weight transfer.
Yep.
But that's what we expect our batteries to be used. And you can see one of our chargers, the red top of it is sitting on the side. But that's what we expect our batteries to be in, and that's what we built our batteries for, is uses like this.
Great.
So this just looks like a setup. This is pretty common. We'll see people who have a lot more room under the hood, and they want to do 2 batteries where there's room, whether they modified the area underneath to accept a bigger battery or they had that stock room. I believe this is a set of 34s, looking by the picture. This is a very common thing. This allows the user in this situation. Our 34 is the highest amp hour and cranking discharge ability group 34 on the market. So this customer theoretically has 160 amp hour under the hood, good for 4,000 watts or so with just those 2 batteries. So that's a great upgrade there, whether it's audio or you're just running winches or lights or a variety of things. That's the type of setup that if you need that, we have it for you. So this is a friend of ours. This is Mayberry Chrome Shop here in the United States. They have, I believe it started off with Group 31 batteries, which is our D3100. They designed this a few months ago, and they will play on this system all day. They were at Slamology, which is the biggest audio show in the United States, here a couple weeks ago. I know, Ramesh, you and I spoke about it, and that thing would play for nonstop for hours with this much battery reserve. Whatever 36 times 127 is how many amp hours they've got. They've got that's an amazing battery bank, and the wiring all connected on top. But that's, again, good, better, best. Mayberry's guys wanted the best. They came to us, and this is what we enjoy. We're happy to see the single setups and stuff like that, but this is the extreme pushing the boundaries of energy and density and reserve that people need, that we love seeing every day.
Very cool. Who would have thought?
So this looks like a hydraulic setup. This is pretty common use as well because obviously with a hydraulic setup, there's a lot of vibration, a lot of sudden movements, and you've got to be careful because a normal routine battery has a really hard time with that much vibration, that much movement, and a lot of companies will not warranty something like that. That's been what is considered a higher abuse, customer abuse style environment, where this is just a Monday for us. This is a battery that's in a good location for us. That's obviously bolted down. That's going to do exactly what the customer wants. So cool thing here is too is that we also offer a 14 volt and a 16 volt battery. That in situations like this, where a 12 volt battery is great, we also offer the same case in a 14 volt battery, so the customer under load will see the 14 volt ranges instead of the 12 volt ranges. So we're always looking for ways to push the industry and push different voltages and have a better performing product, and that's a great example of that.
Yeah, so that's an Impala that was done here in Canada. I believe we'll have the dealer on later. They're running those D series batteries in series, so they're actually running a 48 volt setup for the hydraulics that they just charge off the wall, and then it's while they're driving around, they're just using the reserve power. So it's a pretty cool Impala setup for sure. So this is a BMW 750iL, like a 2000. So this is the V12. This was originally the V12 car, and you'll notice on the top, top kind of in focus, and then down in the bottom on the right-hand side, you'll see the white top of a second battery. So the factory battery setup on this vehicle is twin stacked batteries, 4800 and a 4900 on the bottom, or vice versa. From factory. So they were doing an audio upgrade in this vehicle, and they wanted, obviously there's already a dual battery, kind of like some of the trucks, there's a dual battery setup from factory. So they're using a 48 and a 4900 D series again. So great reminder to dealers on, different ways that these D series cells can be used.
So this is our XV series. This is our engine starting batteries. This is not meant to be an audio battery. This is meant to be a starting battery. So if you've got a car that you're wanting to lose some weight out of that just needs to be responsible for starting and stopping, this is a great fit. This is a good cost-effective option. We have a lot of vehicles down here that take, like a Ford Mustang is really common here in the States. They take a 47 series, which is the XV47, which is the one up center to the right. And that's a direct fit. It weighs, I think these weigh roughly 6 to 7 pounds. They can be charged in less than 5 minutes. They have just as much cranking ability as most batteries on the market, and you can expect 15 plus years out of them. There's also a couple of factors as far as you can use your AGM charger with these. They're obviously fine to be driven with under the hood, and retail, they're extremely competitive. So this is our new one that we talked about just a little bit ago that I'm excited to talk about again. It's our Titan 8 series. This is an LTO battery, which is lithium titanate oxide, which kind of comes to play on the name. You've got one, that's right. While you're opening that, I'm going to illustrate a little bit.
Well, it's super light. In fact, It's so light that it might even be empty. Oh, wait, hold on. It's empty. Oh, look at that. I can palm the whole battery. So that's the Titan 8. It's actually palmable. It's barely heavier than an empty box. What is it, 8 pounds, Sean? Something like that?
I believe it's roughly 8 to 8.5 pounds. It's got the accessories for the top terminals, and it's got the built-in busing on the side. You need to show that.
So on the side, there's a removable panel on either side. So we slide off the excess power panel, and over here, we end up with built-in busing. So coming up from the bottom, you run your wires up from the bottom. Whoop, let me turn it the right way. There you go. And they'll come all the way up to the top to the bus bar. So you won't actually need to figure out distribution. Whoop, there goes the other panel. So you got power on one side, ground on the other. And you now no longer are using external distribution because you'll be able to use this as your your distribution block. Just launch that across the room here.
So I mean, to be honest, this is another great example of good, better, best. There are multiple companies that offer a lithium alternative, and most of those guys are great. But the thing is cool about this is that who else has built-in bus bars underneath to offer a wireless appearing battery installation at that size that's AGM charger compatible, that you can run with an AGM battery that supports up to 8,000 watts with a high alternator, that you can run in a daily for 20 plus years with no issues at all. So I mean, those are just some of the advantages you get with such a strong and powerful product.
So there's actually that same BMW we were talking about done here. They're actually using a Titan 8, a Power S5 for distribution going to the amplifiers. So everything's being fed from that 4800 and 4900 on the other side, and then the amplifiers are coming off of the Power S5. So dealers out there, Power S5, this is where you can, try and interject if the customers, if you've already done the work under the hood with a D series. This is a really easy way to make everything clean and simple.
This is a great introductory lithium as well. Here's obviously the picture from Steve Mead Designs in California that's encompassing two of them, with the wiring coming underneath and the top wiring as well. Just adds another layer of variety as far as wiring installation, integration into the build you're doing or the install. What's cool about that too is if you put a little rubber grommet between the two, there's no reason to run big bus bars in between them. They come with a little link that connects the positives on one side and the negatives on the other. But what's cool here too is that it also can work in series. So if you've got two, you can go positive, negative, and then positive, negative. So you can have a 24-volt setup in a matter of seconds. So this is another great feature of that battery, is that it's able to do that so seamlessly and quick. Not to mention it's got the rubber coating for that way there's no chance of it being conductive on the side in that spot. But that's a great option there to do, especially putting them together in the physical size. It's just so small.
So there's the metal connector with the rubber obviously on the other side, and with the cool branding. I know it's in the bag. I probably shouldn't have taken that out, but so that's the Titan 8, and then that's, as Shawn alluded to, that's how they're insulating it or isolating it from any stray connectivity, unintended connectivity. There's another one, just a kind of cool shot of it being installed and hidden away. That was done up in Peterborough, Ontario by Seductive Sounds, I believe. So pretty neat kind of finished setup.
So this is our XP series. This is our supplemental battery cells. So these are really cool because they're at a cost-effective price as compared to the D series. You can see they come in different models. The XP 750 is in a very small casing. The XP 750CK is basically the combo kit that comes with the wiring kit and the bracket. And a lot of people like using that combo kit because it comes all assembled. The XP 950 is a U1 size, so it's like basically a mobility chair. Uses those a lot. A lot of power sports applications take those. They work great for almost any purpose. The XP 1500 is another great size, and then you've got the three bigger ones, which are common in marine. So your XP 2000 is a group 24, your XP 2500 is a group 27, and then your XP 3000 is basically a group 31. Technically it's a 30H, but it's extremely similar to a 31. It takes the same bracket. The XP series offers a 2-year warranty instead of 3. And it is mainly meant for reserves. So, for example, the XP 3000 is roughly 120 amp hour and offers a lot of amp hour for the price. It still offers our excessive type of performance that you would expect with our batteries, but they're a great cost-effective alternative, especially for marine where you may not need that cranking ability. This is a great option for you. The only thing we do not recommend these is they're obviously not made under the hood. That's where we would encourage a customer or a dealer to look at the D series instead. So this is our Power Sports series. This is our lithium, looks like the lithium line of Power Sports series. We have multiple different sizes. A lot of these are made for like the bagger motorcycle market. That's been a big emerging market for us here in the United States. We make them in 34 housing, which is that same 34 because we like making them in these cases for OEM integration and seamless transition into a lithium option if this is something you're interested in. We make them in the 30 series, which is a quad terminal, so 2 positives and 2 negatives. That is a cool battery for under the seat drop-ins for baggers and bikes. I believe road guys and street guys both take those. The 20 is good. I don't think I have one with me. I'm not sure, Ramesh, if you have one, but it is a 20 series. We just released it, and it is a quad terminal. So the first one that I know of. Same goes for the 14Q. And then the last one, this one that I want to highlight is the top right, which is the 925 XR, which basically is a high reserve version. So if you've got a bike that runs 3,000 watts, but you're not wanting to spend a large amount of money on a lithium battery, that's a fantastic option. At its cost point and availability, it's probably the highest, the most aggressively priced 30 amp hour lithium battery on the market currently.
Yeah, the quad post is huge.
Great thing too. We offer an AGM lineup for this, so if you can see, if you're a little bit skeptical of lithium, which is fine, and then you want to look at an AGM alternative because lithium is not right in all applications. Their AGM is still a large portion of what a lot of these situations and these applications need is AGM battery density, and we still offer those. There's still a massive market for us. The PS925 is a bagger size battery. The PS3400 is a Group 34 with a cool different look. The 14s, 20s, and 30s are all power sports. So like I said, we offer a lot of different sizes for that OEM integration for anything you have.
So this is an example of, for dealers when they refer back to the presentation, we've been covering like D series and XV in Titan 8 and kind of where potentially in a vehicle, or what a potential vehicle could look like. I think there are a large amount of trucks being done. This is just an example in a vehicle where it already has the capability of a dual battery. We'd be able to put 2 D cells or D series up under the hood. We'll be able to put a XV if they wanted to use some lithium storage. We could do an XV up under the seat, or we could do a Titan 8 or using them sometimes even in tandem, depending on what your system design is and how much kind of draw you're going to be looking at.
So the D series and the Titan 8 is a fantastic option here together. You're going to, like I said, with that being a Power S5, you have a 2 D3400s with a good, you're good for 7 to 10,000 watts on this setup. So that's a beautiful setup. The XV would work great here if it's just being used by itself on a stock alternator. It is that storage battery. It's not really meant for the audio side, but if you're looking for example, if you're a fleet company that runs a bunch of diesels that have 65 series under the hood, and you're only getting a year showing the extreme cold out of these batteries, and you want to look at saving 80 pounds on a fleet vehicle that has less maintenance time, less time to charge, better performance, and looking at 100 pounds taken off a vehicle for years and years and what that looks like as far as impact on the vehicle, whether fuel economy, the starting ability, and what happens if a vehicle breaks down, how much time you lose in that vehicle being broke down, how much are you not making as far as getting work done. So the XV has its own line. I think fleet is where that one will be most likely.
Okay, I stand corrected.
All right. So thank you so much, Shawn and Ramesh, for walking us through those fuel lights. And I mean, here's the thing, right? On the website, there's actually more, but I think you really narrowed and focused on the ones that are relevant rather to our industry. So thank you for that. Just 2 quick questions for you, Shawn, before we let you go, and just from basically these questions from what you just said. There is a clear difference between a starter battery and what you're calling a reserve battery. Are any of the, other than the XV, the blue one, that's the lithium one, and the D series, can any of the other batteries be used as a cranking battery, or you strongly recommend against?
So the PS series batteries can be used. They're given a cranking ability. And Importel, if you're a dealer inquiring about this, Importel has the price sheets and the spec sheets that we provide in very deep detail, and Ramesh can account to that.
Yep, absolutely.
Details as far as cranking ability for every single battery that we offer, except for the XP. So all the other ones can. Now there are people out here that are trying to use the XP and in the back, and they're starting something. Now, obviously, that's not the recommended use per se, but that's not what they're designed for. But people are still doing it because they're so strongly built that maybe they didn't know, maybe they weren't educated, and they're using it anyway. And a lot of times it works. But the D series, obviously the XV, basically everything in our lineup except for the XP series is fine to be used as a starting application battery, and all those batteries should be able to start pretty much anything.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, because in some lines they say no, this is absolutely only for starting, and other
Right.
ones are absolutely for a reserve. It seems like these are so overbuilt that really you can't break them even if you tried. So that's what it seems like. Anyhow,
Exactly.
The biggest difference on the series is going to be your under the hood. They're not meant to be under the hood. They're not meant to be exposed to that engine type heat.
Right.
Now, in a
so
marina,
it's not because it can't crank, but it's more because of the environment.
exactly. And the idea behind that is if you give it a cranking ability rating, then it's going to be harder to differentiate between putting that in the hood. What's the difference to E and a D series? So we don't even give the opportunity and give that spec to encourage confusion and encourage an accidental use under the hood.
Now you mean a hood as in a motor vehicle, but let's say in a boat situation for a marine application, can any of those batteries be interchanged?
So the XP series and the D series, in the States and audio, if you think about it, a lot of people run the D series into the hood with an XP 750 CK in the rear. That's what they're made for. It's a little 1,000-watt extra add-on battery with a beautiful bracket wiring kit. They're perfect for that. So a D series and XP can be run interchangeably. Like I said, the only thing about the XP is obviously that heat problem, but the XP is designed in marine. So if you have 4 or 6 of them in the back of a boat like myself, like a bass boat, when I have 4 of them in the back myself, those work perfect. They work great for what I'm trying to do with them, and they,
So what do you use for the cranker on your boat, for example?
So I use a 34 on the crank because a 12-volt crank on my 34 and all.
XP?
The D3400.
Oh, so you use the D as a cranker, no matter. So basically, the D is the ultimate cranker. It seems like that's definitely a go-to cranking machine right there.
If I'm looking, and as far as the dealer highlight here, if I'm looking to bring in a battery that reaches an array of different tools and opportunities and spots and integrating it into everything, I'm looking at the D3400 and the D4800. It's to be honest with you, that 34, I mean, it can work in the rear's audio, it can go into the hood. It has the highest amp hour of a Group 34 on the market at a 3-year warranty, so you can go into a marine environment with it, use an AGM charger with it. It's just a fantastic option.
And also use the same battery for, let's say, the accessories, trolling motor, sound system, whatever. Same one.
Exactly.
Interesting.
It's a premium.
That's great for dealers to stock. This is what I'm getting at. Like, you guys, there's a lot of different options, but I think Shawn just highlighted right there.
I think Shawn used the term earlier, premium cranking battery. That is really what the D is. And I mean, premium isn't to scare people off. It means that it's just got added durability and extra reserve capacity and extra everything. Right. It's just a fantastic. I mean, we sell gobs of them. I mean, it's not rare to get phone calls. I think when I was running yesterday, I need 2 4800s. I go, RAM? They go, yep. I said, okay, cool. See ya.
I have one last question before we let Shawn go. My final, I promise. If a dealer were to dabble into lithium, because it is still an emerging type of technology, and you mentioned it, everybody's a little bit hesitant. It depends, right? Not a lot of people have a ton of experience with it quite yet. What would you recommend as a SKU to try and build that confidence?
So the PWR S5, the Power S5, the Titanate product, and this is the one he's got in his hand. This one outsells the other ones in the audio scene because this is the cool thing. You don't need, and previous chemistries and designs had needed a higher voltage, a 15.2, 15.3 voltage range to be effective. This is perfect for those guys that even have a PCM regulated alternator where you have that variable voltage, like a smart Intella voltage and amperage that drops it down. Like I know a lot of PCM controlled Chevy trucks down here have that where it'll be up at 14.6, 14.7, and then as soon as it doesn't see a load present, it dumps down to 12.8, 12.9. That's perfectly fine. It's not going to hurt it. You put the 34 under the hood and you put this in the back. We see this commonly used in the audio market as a under the seat battery where somebody has 112, a 3,000 watt amp, and they want to do a lithium in the back. Well, then they put this under the seat because obviously it's so small, easy to wire. It's very easy to charge with. It's very easy to take long to charge. But I also wanted to share something real quick before we go. We had a customer call in a few months ago, and he owns a pond on his property, and he had called in asking what he needs to do with this battery. It was a Group 31, so it was a 31 series, and his son had accidentally pulled the drain plug out of the boat when they were on their lake, and it was a John boat. It's the greatest story, and I feel bad for him, but at the end of the day, it was pretty funny. He was laughing about it too. I think he just called us to let us know. The John boat had went to the bottom of the river, and it sat there for like 4 months underneath the water. And when he had time, he drug it out, and he called us, and he was like, "What am I supposed to do with this battery?" And I was like, "What do you mean? What are you supposed to do with this battery?" And he was like, "It's at 11.9 after 4 months of being underwater." And he was like, "I put it on the charger, and now it's at 12.7." I said, "Does it start anything?" He goes, "Seems to work fine to me." I said, "Well, then if it's not broke, is it draining water out of it?" And he's like, "Nope." I said, "Okay, sounds like you've got a working battery after 4 months."
Wow, submerged at the bottom of a pond.
I said, "Now, obviously, that's not going to be a warrantyable thing. We're not, we can use it as a boat anchor and warranty it." But
you should have told him, Sean. You should have told him, you can also add a bilge pump onto that battery, right? Probably would have saved that scenario. That's an amazing story, but testament to how bulletproof these your products are, Sean.
I appreciate it. Like I said, we're happy to partners with distributors like Importel who expand that knowledge and expand the necessity and need and want and desire for a high performing battery product. And there's a lot of companies out there that make great batteries, and we respect them, wish them all the best, but we still believe that we make the premier battery the best battery on the market, and we stand behind that.
Very best. Sean, thank you so much for taking the time. Your wealth of knowledge is very appreciated, and thank you for sharing all the details with us today. And we'll talk to you on the next one.
Thanks so much, Sean. I really appreciate you making time for us. I know you're
Absolutely.
super busy.
Yeah.
Take care, Sean.
Have a great day. Thank you for having me.
You as well.
So, Ramesh, a lot more to go. We got a dealer coming on, and then we're gonna crunch some ideas here and see, in the real world. Not that I'm discrediting what Sean has to say, but I like to hear,
What about Ben's world? We can put these in Ben's boat.
It definitely can. What do you think I'm asking questions about the boat? Anyhow,
exactly.
We'll get to that in a second.
If you end up at the bottom of the river.
But first, we've got a video about the power sports line that we talked about. When we come back, I got an interview with Shazam from Shazam Concepts.
Shazam.
Introducing the all-new XV Series 12-volt Power Sports Lithium Battery by XS Power. Weighing in at less than 4 pounds, this compact battery packs a serious punch with over 500 cranking amps. XS Power has committed themselves to innovate past the frustration and push the boundaries of energy storage. With the XV Series, you get a fast-charging powerhouse that's compatible with OEM and high-performance stators and alternators, can be used with a traditional battery charger, and has no hazardous shipping restrictions with a lifespan up to 5 times longer than a traditional lead-acid battery. Absolutely 100% maintenance-free, the XV Series batteries do not require a maintainer and are operable down to minus 40 degrees. All of this with a starting price of just $249. Contact your XS Power dealer and get yours today.
All right, so we've arrived to the part of the show which I really enjoy. I get to talk to a real-life dealer who deals with real people and real vehicles and real situations. And I'm going to ask him a couple of questions about XS Power, because apparently Shazam has been using XS Power for quite some time. So let's get him into the studio. I know he's in the shop. Shazam, welcome to the show and the CMA for the very first time, buddy.
Hey, Ben, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I see you're at your shop. Obviously, you got a car in there. Before we even start talking about XS Power, let's learn a little bit about your shop. Where are you located? What do you specialize in? And how long have you been in business?
So we're pretty much located in the GTA on the east end in Scarborough, just off the 401 on McCowan. We've been in business at this location for approximately 5 years. We've been in business a lot longer than that. Let's say approximately 17 years.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
And what do you
And
specialize in?
we specialize in a lot of custom work. If you see behind me here, there's a custom enclosure with some audio frog subwoofers. Um, we also do daily installs, that kind of stuff too, but we specialize in custom.
Absolutely. Here on CMA, we've been featuring your projects probably for over 2 years now, and you do a wide variety of different premium brands, but you also do a lot of show vehicles. I think we see a lot of your show vehicles show up at some of the bigger shows around town for sure in Toronto.
That's right. That's right.
Now let's dive in a little bit about your experience with XS Power batteries. You've kind of been, it's pretty obvious if you go to your Instagram feed or whatnot that this is a product that you incorporate into a lot of your builds. So what is your experience with XS Power for you to have such confidence with them?
My experience, again, with any product, it's been over time. We've been using it for quite a long time, and we're very happy to say the product is bulletproof. We've never had any major issues with the product. There's a wide variety of uses for the product. We have under the hood batteries. We have now they have the Titan 8s, the lithium batteries. They provide, I would say, the best space solution because the battery is so small and it has all those options for wiring. It pretty much gives us so many options that it's the go-to battery for most of the newer vehicle installs.
So XS Power has provided you confidence because long-term use, you put it in many systems. Obviously, you continue using them because they don't come back and the customers are happy with them. So how do you recommend them to your customer when it comes to system build? Is this something that you start with? Or just run me through the process, because I'll be honest, I don't hear of shops necessarily incorporating auxiliary batteries or upgrading batteries within a system build. So I'd like to hear your style and your process.
So pretty much, first off, what we try to do is run through a system design, and we always start with the charging system and the batteries. So if, let's say, for instance, a customer wants to go single 12, 3000 watt amp, and wants to maintain a battery under the hood, no additional batteries, we use the pretty much the most popular model from XS Power. It's the D3400, and that gives us a lot of reserve time. The client can play for a couple hours, no problem. And we also stress at the end of the day, you need to have that reserve for your amplifiers to work efficiently, for your system to play properly. So there's no distortion, there's no damaging products, that kind of stuff.
So that 3400 is, from your experience, really incorporates well into factory alternator systems. There's no other upgrade required for it to perform?
So that's only if it's a smaller system. We stick with the 3400.
Okay.
With the Titan 8 now, they give us a capacity with the stock alternator to do a system upwards of 5,000 watts, which is pretty good.
Just to clarify, so let's say you're going to put a Titan 8 in the trunk for a system that's higher wattage, like you just mentioned. Do you also upgrade the one under the hood for a D series as well, or can you just do the Titan?
We try to, if it's in the budget. Okay. But if the client only, let's say the client bought a new vehicle, the car is 1 year old, the batteries under the hood is pretty much a brand new battery. So we give them the option to upgrade to a D series right away. And like I said, if it's not in the budget, we use a Titan 8 at the back. So that pretty much allows us to have the capacity for a bigger system. And it gives, like I said, I mentioned earlier, with the wiring options, it's pretty easy to use in the newer vehicles.
And incorporate into your design and the space that you have too, right? Because I noticed they're kind of smaller. And in fact, where you tuck the wires, the actual battery is smaller than the casing or the top casing. So there's a lot of play there. Okay. if you had to choose an ideal system, let's say I'm coming to you as a customer, I'm like, I want to bust like, big 6-channel. I want to put, a big 1,000-watt mono amp. I'm doing 212s and actives up front. What would be your ideal scenario? No
So
budget.
ideal scenario, what we would
Yeah.
do, upgrade under the hood, and do our calculation.
Still a D series? Still a D
Still a
series
D
34?
series, yep.
Okay.
Still a D series, because the D series are, believe it or not, they're made for under the hood. They have that higher temperature rating.
Right. Okay.
Right? I believe Shawn mentioned it earlier in the show.
He did.
And
and you can confirm that even in our cold Canadian weather, there's no problem because he lives down in Tennessee. I want to
that's
know.
right. There's no issues. No issues.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
And so, sorry.
We're talking about ideal system. You said you start with the 3400D.
If we do the battery under the hood, we do a current consumption calculator, and that's going to give us what recommended batteries we should use for that system. So let's say the alternator is a stock alternator. We stick with, if it's a 10,000 watt system, we can use 2 of the Titanates, which pretty much is going to supplement the current consumption for that system. If the client has, let's say, concerns for reserve, and it's in the budget again, we use a third one. But Excess Power has given us, and I have seen it for myself, they have highly underrated their products. So I can guarantee you, with a 10,000 watt system, and these, let's say you use 2 Titanates, it's going to be, again, bulletproof. There's no going back from that.
Okay. Do you have any experience outside of carving? Like, do you do any boats or power sports, anything like that?
We actually do a lot of boats too.
And what do you recommend in that situation?
We've done I believe it's the 6500 XPs, because it's bigger capacity, bigger size battery, and still we have no issues of
performance.
No issues with performance,
and definitely no issues with the elements being in a boat.
Yeah, because a lot of clients, what they do is they wrap their boats and whatnot for the winter, and the boats stay outside.
And the batteries stay in? They leave them in, and you know this?
Yeah, they leave them in. And,
really?
Yep.
And they survive.
And come next boating season, most times the batteries, if they're not 11 volts, they're pretty much still on perfect charge.
Okay. Let's go ahead and bring Ramesh from Importel back into this conversation. I'm sure you want to give him an opportunity to comment on anything that you said there. I mean, how much happier can you be, Ramesh? The guy is like tattooed Excess Power. Yeah, absolutely.
What's happening, buddy?
Hey,
any comments you have on what Shazam said, Ramesh?
I mean, he's got the math. I mean, he does it every day. I mean, when the Impala was still there, I think he's got the one BMW behind him there. I think there's another one over on that side behind him. Yeah,
that side.
And then that side. Mirrored, so I gotta point the wrong way. And I think when the Impala was there, I mean, they had 11 or 12 cells in 3 cars. And a variety of them, right? It's not
That's
just
right.
So that's depending on the application, I mean, he's it's living proof. Compressor.
He's got his compressor going.
Yeah, just turn up his mic.
You know what I'm not interested. What makes me interested in what he's saying is this seems like something that Shazam just simply incorporates into a system. It's like, you know how I hear guys say, there's no system that come out of my shop without DSP. Well, for Shazam's like, no, there is no system that comes out of my shop without a battery upgrade, because I can't guarantee the performance of the equipment I'm selling him unless we have this power cell there to guarantee its current. Does that make sense?
That's where we started this, and that's where we started the preamble, Ben. We said, predictable and repeatable. And the way you get predictable and repeatable, the tuning part was with the DSPs. We can predict it, and it's going to be repeatable, and we can do it over and over. Well, on the power output side, there has to be current input, right?
I just want to reiterate, guys, like when you read the box on the power ratings, take a look at what voltage those ratings are taken at before you tell your customer that this is the kind of power that you're getting. Because if you're not getting that voltage, guess what? You're lying. That's what you're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
And the consumer might not understand that now, But if he ever gets a working grasp of basic Ohm's law, he's going to understand that amplifier that says, the amplifier is, 1,000 RMS at 14.4. Well, if that car has a smart alternator and the voltage dips in the car all the time and it goes down to sometimes, I think on my Mustang, it goes down to like 12.8 or something, something nonsense, right? Whereas normally, pre-2010, almost everything ran at 14.4. So when you're telling that customer, I just sold you a 1,000-watt amplifier, we did, if it's getting fed 14.4.
That's a great way to sell it, though. Isn't that a great way to sell it, though, Shazam?
It is.
Do you ever use that tactic with customers?
Yep. And a lot of times, to get that output, we also have the competition vehicles that we do. We do a 15-volt, 16-volt bank, and Excess Power. They provide batteries for that.
Excellent.
So, yep.
My last question before I let you go, Shazam, from a business perspective, this is another layer onto that build, right?
Yeah.
So share with us. I mean, this is something that dealers are missing out on if they're not taking advantage.
So at the end of the day, if you don't have the product to show, or you don't offer it to the client, let's say the client is new into car audio, there's no way the client is going to know.
They're never going to ask for it.
Exactly.
Hey, where's my battery upgrade? Nobody's ever said nobody ever.
That's, believe me, believe me, that's the last thing on a customer's mind nowadays. But we pretty much start with that. If you know what I mean.
Foundation first.
Yeah.
Let me tell all the dealers out there a secret. If you're quoting a job and not quoting a power cell upgrade, and if you walk into another shop, examples, Shazam, but I mean, it could be anybody across the country. There are other dealers that see things the same way Shazam does.
Yep.
If they walk in there and the light bulb goes off in the second shop, they're never coming back to the first shop.
To the first shop, exactly.
Right? Yeah. So you're really doing a disservice. At least give them the chance to say no. At least they understand what they're saying no to.
Yeah, and because if not, the guy's like, the other shop never even mentioned it. He goes, oh, they never mentioned that? So they never mentioned the fact that you want this power, but they can't deliver because your power system can't even deliver that? Now who looks stupid?
Right.
Now who
and you get the opportunity, even if they don't have it in the budget on the first sale, 6 months, 8 months down the road, over the winter, hey, Shop B or Shazam or whoever. Hey,
my lights are blinking when I'm playing my
Shop
bass.
Guy. Remember that thing you said about those batteries? I just got some Christmas money from Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Can you do this that battery thing now?
Yeah.
Right. So you it will pay off down the road because nobody's running 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 RMS.
No. The smallest we do is like 3,000.
Well, they're doing it because we see the sales pushing out the door all the time. Yep. We ask the question on the phone. I'm like, is that all going to one car? Yep. Cool. Batteries? Like, we have that conversation. Like, it's not in the budget. Okay. Right. But if you don't tell them, like I told the dealer, so the dealer can hopefully practice.
Right. It's up to the distributor, you, Ramesh, to make sure you talk to every dealer that calls in for the system. And it's up to Shazam and other dealers to talk to their customers. It's just,
right.
It's
all, right. I mean, there are customers
cascading down.
Right. And we want everybody to have, whether it's, an amplifier we sell or an amplifier we don't sell, it doesn't matter. We want consumers to be happy with what they purchase from their retailer.
And they get a better
and our partnership with the retailer is to make sure that we can offer the right amount of support and information to help you get there. Because nobody is getting 1,000 RMS at 14.4 when the car is giving it 12.2.
Nobody.
Yep.
Period.
Right.
Shazam, you got to get back to the shop. I want to thank you for taking the time.
No problem, man.
Keep on rocking out those systems, brother.
Yeah, man.
Okay, take care.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Okay, Ramesh, let's wrap this one up. I think there was a lot of information in this one. I learned a lot. So if I learned a lot, I know people tuning in learned a lot. Final message you have for dealers after going through exactly what Shawn broke out for us and hearing the testimonial from Shazam.
Honestly, just present the opportunity for customers to have great audio. Just present it. 100% of the time. Wayne Gretzky.
100. You
miss 100% of the shots that you never take.
Exactly. 4xspower.com is the website. I've been on the website. It's crazy the amount of information on there. And if you're a Canadian dealer tuning in here and you want to get you some power, excess power, importel.com. They got the goods. Upgrade, make it a part of the conversation, and make sure your customer is aware that they might be missing out on the performance of the products they put in. Like Ramesh said, regardless of the brand, if their power system isn't taken care of. Ramesh, thank you so much for this one. This was a very
Thanks, man.
educational
Appreciate
one,
it.
man. I'll see you on the next
It's been
one.
great. Looking forward to it.
All right. Make sure you continue tuning into CMA Networks because we are heading into something really exciting. It's the DSP sessions, digital sound processing. It's going on pretty much the entire month of July. Guys, we have every brand known to man for DSP coming on. Very exciting stuff. One-on-one every day. Tune in at noon for a workshop with your favorite DSP brand right through till Thursday, July 28th. And of course, if you missed any of our shows and you want to do more research, check out our website, cmanetworks.com. Hundreds of videos to choose from. Search through brands, by category, or even your favorite trainer. Whatever it is, make sure you get on to cmanetworks.com and get your learn on. That's it for this one. This was CMA Connected, presented by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. Till next time, we connect.
I mean, yeah, it's time about
Stop it.
Today when we go
Yo,
topics.
roll it down.
I am.
You don't need a car to listen to SiriusXM. You can listen anywhere. You know that, right?
What? Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio.
Kevin, you could use your phone.
What? What?
Alexa, play Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio on Sirius XM.
What?
This is how I know you're getting old. I guess that was it.
What?